Welcome to DesignerDigitals Bi-Weekly Tip, September 1st, 2017. This week, how to customize PNG borders and tall strips in Photoshop and Elements. This week, we're continuing our series on getting the most value from ready-made layers borders and ready-made tall strips by Studio Double D. These products are essentially strips of coordinating embellishments that are artfully arranged in a line to use as a border for a quick and beautiful page. Many of the borders come as layered files, but others are delivered as a flattened PNG file. You can find out what type of border you're purchasing by checking the detailed description of the item in the store. If the file is provided as a layered PSD, you'll know that each layer can be manipulated. If the file is provided only as a PNG image, you'll know it comes as a flattened or merged PNG image with a transparent background. If you've purchased one of these PNG sets, you may want to add extra embellishments to the border, and here's how to make them look like they're woven or layered into the set. Open a border, a piece of digital paper, and one or more embellishments in Photoshop or Elements. Using the Move tool, drag the border image onto a piece of background paper. The easiest way to add stamps, paint, splatters, or flourishes is to drag the embellishment onto the document below the border layer. So drag it onto the document and then drag it down beneath the border layer. I'm going to straighten this out to make it look like it's going behind the border in a more vertical way. This is a really quick way to give your border a fuller look. I'm going to minimize that and then drag an embellishment over onto the border and paper document. So I'll drag it over, and it's also going to come in right behind the border layer. If it doesn't come in under the border layer, go ahead and drag it down in the Layers panel until it rests one position below the border layer. Now you can resize and reposition to make it look the way you want it to. The next step is to make a layer mask on the border layer. In Photoshop, click the border layer and then click the Add a Layer Mask icon at the bottom of the Layers panel. I think it looks like a little camera. This adds a little white square next to the thumbnail of the border on the border layer. That white square is the mask. If you're working in Photoshop Elements, choose the border layer and then choose Layer, Layer Mask, Reveal All from the menu bar. This places a white square next to the thumbnail of the border on the border layer in the Layers panel, and that white square is your mask. Now get the brush tool and set the foreground color to black by pressing the letters D or D and X on your keyboard. When you hit D, it makes the default black and white, and if you hit X on your keyboard, it switches the foreground and the background. So when I hit X, it switches them. You just want to make sure that the top chip is black. Next, control-click on the thumbnail of the embellishment. So I'm going to control-click over here in the Layers panel on the thumbnail of the little leaf layer that I'm adding. I do this so that when I erase, it will only erase the portion of the border that overlaps the embellishment. When you do this, you'll see a selection of marching ants surrounding your embellishment on your document. Click on the Layer Mask. Remember, that's the white square that was added in the Layers panel next to your border. Using the brush tool, you're going to paint on the mask with black to erase away the portion of the border that you want to look like it's beneath the embellishment. So I'm going to zoom in by pressing Control+ a couple of times so we can see what we're doing. And I want this portion of the border to look like it's underneath the leaf. I don't want it to look like we stamped on top of the leaf. So using black as my foreground, I'm going to paint on that mask, and you're going to see that it only covers the things that are selected on the leaf layer. And I think I'd like this portion of the leaf to show through as well. So I'm going to color that with black. And then I'm going to hit the left bracket to reduce the size of my brush a little bit so I can get in this area here. I like to use a circle brush, but whatever brush works for your particular project is just fine. Now the cool thing about this technique is that if you accidentally erase away something that you decide you want to keep, like if I accidentally erase away this part and I decide, oh no, I really think I want to keep that, all you have to do is hit X on the keyboard to get white as your foreground color, and then keep drawing on the mask. It restores the visibility when you paint white on the mask, and it's a really simple way to correct any mistakes that you make. When you're happy with your masking work, press Ctrl D to remove the selection. Next, create a layer mask on the embellishment layer. So I'm going to come down to my leaf and create a mask on that layer. I'll click on the mask and change the foreground color to black, and then erase away the portion of the embellishment that I don't want to see. So on this one, I want to erase away this stem. And remember, if I decided I wanted it back again, all I would have to do is hit X on the keyboard and then draw back in. That's what I love about this technique, is that if you make a mistake, it's super easy to fix. You can also use this method to remove any portion of the border that you decide you don't want to use, even if it isn't an overlapping item. Next, you'll want to add a shadow to your embellishment layer because the border already has shadows. So I'll add a style, which is a drop shadow, and then it makes it look as though my leaf is popped off the page a little bit. Finally, Control-click all three of the layers that you've added. So just hold down the Control, or on a Mac system that's Command, and click all three of the layers, and then hit the little link icon to link the layers together. Now when you move or turn or resize, it applies the change to all three of them at the same time. This also helps your masking remain where it should. It's a little trickier to customize PNG borders instead of the layered ones, but using layer masks is a non-destructive way to weave the embellishments in and out of your image. Thanks so much for watching, and be sure to check back in 2 weeks for the next DesignerDigitals tip.